Page 38, Chapter 8, The Lunatic. Once we were well on the road out of Illinois, Graham said, "Go on with Peavy. What happened next?" "Do you want to hear about the lunatic?" "Goodness," Graham said, "as long as it's not too bloody. That Peavy is just like Gloria, I swear." A lunatic, imagine. Graham said, "Did Gloria really have a hankering for me?" "Maybe she did, and maybe she didn't," Graham said. "Well, gall dang, I was only asking." "Seems to me," Graham said, "you've got enough to worry about concentrating on these roads without worrying about Gloria." Graham winked at me in the rearview mirror. "I think our gooseberry is jealous," he said. "I am not," Graham said. "Tell about Peavy, Chickabiddy." I didn't want Graham and Gramps to get in a fight over Gloria, so I was happy to continue telling Phoebe's story. I was at Phoebe's one Saturday morning when Mary Lou Finney called and invited us over to her house. Phoebe's parents were out, and Phoebe went all around the house checking to make sure that the doors and windows were locked. Her mother had already done this, but she made Phoebe promise to do it as well. Just in case, Mrs. Winterbottom had said. I was not sure, just in case of what. Maybe in case someone had snuck in and opened all the windows and doors in the 15 minutes between the time she left and the time we did. You can never be too careful, Mrs. Winterbottom had said. The doorbell rang. Phoebe and I looked out the window. Standing on the porch was a young man who looked about 17 or 18, although I am not as good at guessing people's ages as blind Mrs. Partridge is. The young man was wearing a black t-shirt and blue jeans, and his hands were stuffed into his pockets. He seemed nervous. "My mother hates it when strangers come to the door," Phoebe said. "She's convinced that any day one of them will burst into the house with a gun and turn out to be an escaped lunatic." "Oh, honestly, Phoebe," I said, "do you want me to answer the door?" Phoebe took a deep breath. "We'll do it together." She opened the door and said hello in a cool voice. "Is this 49 Gray Street?" the young man asked. "Yes," Phoebe said. "So the Winterbottoms live here?" After Phoebe admitted that yes, it was the Winterbottom residence, she said, "Excuse me a moment, please," and she closed the door. "Sal, do you detect any signs of lunacy?" There doesn't there doesn't appear to be any place he could be hiding a gun. His jeans are really tight. Maybe he has a knife tucked in his socks." Phoebe could be really dramatic. "He isn't wearing any socks," I said. Phoebe opened the door again. The young man said, "I want to see Mrs. Winterbottom. Is she here or what?" "Yes," Phoebe lied. The young man looked up and down the street. His hair was curly and mussed, and there were bright pink circles on his cheeks. He wouldn't look us straight in the eye, but instead kept glancing to left and right. "I want to talk to her," he said. "She can't come to the door right now," Phoebe said. I thought he might actually cry when Phoebe said that. He chewed on his lip and blinked 3 or 4 times quickly. "I'll wait," he said. "Just a minute," Phoebe said, closing the door. She pretended to look for her mother. "Mom!" she called. "Yoo-hoo!" She went upstairs, thumping loudly on the steps. "Mother!" Phoebe and I returned to the door. He was still standing there with his hands in his pocket, staring mournfully at Phoebe's house. "That's strange," Phoebe said to him. "I thought she was here, but she must have gone out. There's a whole lot of other people here, though," she added quickly. "Scads and scads of people. But no Mrs. Winterbottom." "Is Mrs. Winterbottom your mother?" he asked. "Yes," Phoebe said. "Would you like me to leave her a message?" The little pink circles on his cheeks became even pinker. "No," he said. "No, I don't think so. No." He looked up and down the street and then up at the number above the door. "What's her name?" "Phoebe." He repeated her name. "Phoebe Winterbottom." I thought he was going to make a joke about her name, but he didn't. He glanced at me. "Are you a Winterbottom too?" he asked. "No," I said. "I'm a visitor." And then he left. He just turned around, walked slowly down the porch steps and on down the street. We waited until he had turned the corner before we left. We ran all the way to Mary Lou's. Phoebe was certain that the young man was going to ambush us. Honestly, like I said, She has a vivid imagination.